Hey friends, welcome to your June 2022 energy update. This month is all about overcoming something that you want, simplifying the life to lighter, and full circle moments. So, welcome. This is Alyssa Rushton with your June 2022 energy update. And if you've been here with me before, welcome back. And if this is your first time, what we do on these energy updates is we'll walk through the main energy themes for the month so that you can work with the energies and alchemize them and really work with your higher timeline frequencies. And at the end, I'll go over some tips and takeaways and some questions you can ask yourselves. Okay, so let's talk about the first main energy for this month, which is overcoming something that you want, but it's a little bit slower than you might like it to be coming through. So, the example that I'm being shown with this is someone moving into a new home. And in fact, they're still looking for a new house right now, or maybe they just found out that they were going to get the house and they're not going to move until the middle of June, and then they finally move in, and then it's new furniture and getting settled and getting things just as they would like them. And that process takes a few months. And so that's the energy of right now. It's this overcoming something that you've been working with, probably for the past year at least. And this feels really big for many of you. This could be like solving a housing situation, or it could be a relationship issue, or it could be a big money situation. But whatever this is, it's got a sort of a heft to it. And so I say that to say that it is happening. It's going to happen, but it's happening a little slower than you might want. Many of you may have been wanting this to already have happened by now. So if that's you, just know that it's okay. It is actually in the process of happening. There's, from an astrological perspective, we've been working with the particulars of Saturn, which is very slow and steady and elongated. And it takes time to fortify this particular area of your life. But the great news is that you are in the process of re-fortifying this particular area. And so if you can give yourself the patience to know that what's transpiring for you is happening, and it's happening in accordance with your new now energy. And most of you who are feeling this in your system as I say this, or who are like, oh my gosh, this is totally me, you should start to see the energy free up towards the second week of June, and things start to pop. Opportunities start to open up and come through for you. Whereas the first couple weeks of June might feel like you're ready to go, you've got the momentum, but the opportunity for it isn't quite there yet. And then even once the opportunity comes in, there's still this process, this very slow and methodical process of rebuilding this particular aspect of your life, which, I kind of love this because anything that's built to last does take a little bit longer. So if you can just go into it knowing that that's what you're doing, you're building something that's meant to last. It's meant to be built in a different energy, in a different way. That'll make this June feel a lot lighter and brighter for you. This June also has the energy of, I heard the message, simplify to lighter. So if you think about your life and your world, what are some areas where you might want to simplify and get yourself lighter? That might be in your physical body. That might be in your living arrangements. It might be in your financial agreements or obligations. So this is about this time of simplifying your life to lighter. And it feels like as you start to do this in June, you're going to also have some chances to let go of your attachments to things that you might have felt very attached to in the past, whether that's a place or a person or a way of being in a place or things in your house, this is a great time to sort of free up some extra energy and letting go of those attachments. And I can even think about something as simple as the things that you might have wanted in the past. For example, maybe you wanted the book deal. Maybe you wanted to do retreats across the world. Maybe you wanted to do these things in your business. And if you can let go of the attachment to those things and free up some of that energy, I also feel like those same things are going to come around to you, only in a muchly different way. Which leads me to the next energy of this month, which is full circle moments. So for many of you, you have been doing the work in terms of you've been peeling back the layers, you've been healing the inner child, you've been healing the programs and the physical body and all of the things that you've been doing. You've been inviting more of your divine self, as I like to call it, or you might call it your higher self or your soul, to come in and run more of the show, as opposed to what I call the small self, or you might call it the ego self. But the full circle moment that's happening for many of you, especially if this is really resonating with you right now, is I want you to think back to 2016, November, December, and then January, February, March, possibly April and May of 2017. So from November 2016 to May of 2017, that's about 5 years ago, okay? Think about that 6 months of time or 7 months of time, and think about, are you coming to a full circle moment? Meaning something that you really wanted back then is coming back around to you, only it's like you were down here and now it's coming back around to you up here and maybe over here. So it's coming to you in a higher frequency way to match your frequency. It's coming back around again. This beautiful opportunities, these beautiful soul connections. For many of you, this is relationship based. For some of you, this is location based. You might be thinking of revisiting an area or moving back to an area where you were back then. It could be revisiting a body, like body image that you had back then. So however this is showing up for you, it very much feels like revisiting these full circle moments, but only on a higher timeline, from a very healed place, from a place that feels much different. And if, as I'm saying this, you are thinking, Alyssa, my life is off in a ditch right now. I'm in the full circle moment, only I'm nowhere near where I thought I would be. I'm still on the same circle. Or maybe I'm feeling even lower than that. Maybe it's you're feeling lower financially, or maybe you're feeling lower in your finances, or maybe you're feeling lower in your relationships, or maybe it's all of that. And that's okay too. What will be really important for you, if that is you, if you feel like you're revisiting these things and you're feeling like you've been taken out a bit, or maybe that you are like without the resources that you might like, if that is you, then just understand that there's a deeper layer of egoic programming that had to come off, in the form of letting go of some old ways of knowing yourself and knowing your value through those things. Now, what's really cool is, once you heal up the aspect of yourself of knowing your value or knowing your worth through something, okay, so let me give you an example. If you have only felt like you're valuable if you're making a certain income, or if you only feel like you're valuable if you have a certain look, or if you only feel like you're valuable if you have a certain body shape or style, or if you only feel like you have a value if you are a certain way. If those programs are in operation, it is probable that you might be experiencing some of those things to help you understand and see that no, you are absolutely loved and adored and treasured, even in the midst of those things falling away. And once you can then look at that, love on those parts of yourself that didn't feel loved, didn't feel worthy of accepting love, or didn't feel worthy of the abundance of the universe, that thought you had to prove it somehow. Once you start to really work with that deeply, then the outside world can really shift and you can experience life in a different way. Although it really does feel like we're all simplifying our ways of living and simplifying the life back to lighter. And so, with these full circle moments coming through the higher timelines and simplifying the life, it's really important to think about for you, what are the ways in which that is expressing for you on your everyday basis? And if it's not expressing for you, what are the ways in which you would wish it to? So let me give you an example. If someone was simplifying their life, they might think about getting more time in nature. For example, I'm reminded of a client who just called me the other day and said, I want to do more working with my own clients outside so that she could be outside more doing what she loves, and then helping her clients with what they need help with, and then utilizing nature and Earth's energy as a transmutation tool, which it's amazing at. So she's simplifying to lighter. So it's a really beautiful time to just be able to ask yourself some questions about how you can simplify, how you can have a lighter experience in the world, how you can enjoy more of this gorgeous, gorgeous Earth and be of service to your own tribe. Because I know that many of you watching this are healers, you're empaths, you're teachers, you're leaders. So asking yourself some of those questions will be really helpful through the month of June. Let's see, some of the other modes of operating that have been outdated for a while are also coming up to be seen. So that's another really big theme for this month, those outdated modes of operating. And that, again, might be in business. It might be in marketing. It might be, you might see this in your own business. You might see this in the world at large. You might see this in terms of finances, or the globe's finances and how the globe's been doing trade and financing, or news. All of these old modes of operating that really don't work. We know they don't work. We're well aware that they're not in harmony. They need to be seen for what they are, and then shifted into something new. And in fact, I am seeing an example here of like a whole bunch of people on a bus, and they're on this bus, and as they're on the bus, they're literally paving this potholy road in front of them over these beautiful green lush mountains. So it's like there's a portion of you, probably all of you who are watching this, by the way, who are responsible for paving the new way, for creating the new way. But it's the imagery that I'm being given. It's like you're paving the new way as you're driving the road. So it's a bit of a task. It's a bit of a job. You're having to figure out the new way of doing it as you're in the process of traveling down this new road. But I also see that you have all these beautiful resources and tools and energies that you can now work with, so that what you are creating isn't born in the old, isn't any sort of a version of these outdated ways of being. And I say a version of because oftentimes we recreate the old just in a new way. For example, religion, modern day spirituality, has in many ways recreated religious aspects just in a new way. We give it new labels. One is like the aliens are coming to save you, or the great solar flash is coming to save you. And ultimately, you save you. You're here to save yourself. You're here to reprogram yourself. You're here to ascend your consciousness through descending your higher self into your physical body, but it's you that gets to save you. There's actually nobody outside of you that's going to be responsible for that. Just like I always say, there's no amount of you eating a salad or drinking green juice that's going to get somebody else healthy. You can be a great example of what health is, but you can't actually get somebody healthy through your physical actions. And the same thing is true. No amount of planetary upgrades and upshifts and upheavals is going to make somebody healthy if they're not doing the inner work themselves. So right now is this beautiful time for doing the inner work, for paving that new way, for being an example. And in June, July, August, September, October, into 2023, I feel, and have been saying this since 2019, really, that this next year, you're going to see even more than you ever have of the old, I call it the old gnarly, coming out. And you'll just see it for what it is. And you'll know that while you are seeing it for what it is, you can still be a beautiful example of what it is to be an awakened, ascended master being on this planet in action all the time. You can be an example of that, holding the energy of that. And then through that example, people can entrain to you. I call it the popcorn, the early popcorn popper. You're the early popcorn that pops to help the others so that they can pop themselves, but they still have to do the work. And as you see some of the planetary and global events happening, there's something that I think will serve you really well as you see the old gnarly come up through a personal story. So I'll share this with you really quickly. As I was going through my own healing journey, I got diagnosis after diagnosis, and one after the other, and I got sicker and sicker. And it just felt like I was just getting slammed down one after the other, until I finally hit this moment that was my wake up call. And that wake up call inspired me to do my whole entire life differently. And for me, that wake up call, for many of you who know my story, was actually a near-death experience of dying on the toilet from a fatal overdose of Western medication. So I then realized I had to go and do everything differently because what I was doing wasn't working. So if you can use that example as a microcosm for the macrocosm of the planet, of we're seeing all these things that aren't working and all these things that are just hard to watch and hard to see. And there will be a point where we get enough of those, coupled with enough of people like you who are doing the work, that people have this aha moment of, we've got to now do this really differently. And I suspect we are in that time of a civilization change out, where one thing kind of crumbles down and falls away and another rises up. I also suspect that you who are watching this are on the forefront of creating that new civilization, that new earth-based way of being that's really born in different ways of being, that's really born in different energies. And that might be hard for the mind to wrap itself around. I know that it's hard for my mind a lot of times to wrap itself around, but I really get that many of you are on that journey, and that's the work that you're here to do. And knowing that that work takes time. You are laying the foundation now. You will keep laying the foundation. So just keep doing the work. But as you see the hard in the world, just remind yourself that it is for a purpose, a healing purpose. And I can tell you personally, I wouldn't trade my my beat down, right? My beat down of my body and all of that, I wouldn't trade it for the world, because I have the belief that we can heal from anything, that as a human being, we can heal from anything. If you've ever read Anita Morjani's story, Dying to Be Me, she was riddled with cancer and came back and completely healed her body, completely and totally. So even when it looks like the odds are that it won't heal, that you actually have the ability to do so, both on a personal and a planetary level. But your beliefs and what you're projecting out goes to create the reality. So if you are more tuned into some of the more doom and gloom stuff, that projection actually serves to create a stronger container energetically for those things to happen. And if you're more tuned into the side of actually, we're creating something new, we're creating this vision of a new earth, we're creating new business structures, we're creating new ways of being, new ways of operating, collaboration with each other, non-competition. I even see a time when sporting events won't be a thing anymore, other than we'll just do them for fun, but people won't be sitting around the TV watching two teams compete against each other to see which one wins, and ultimately who's taken the most what do they call that stuff to boost your energy, the drugs, basically the human growth hormone and the testosterones to make you bigger and stronger. We won't be doing that stuff anymore, because we'll be playing sports and games for fun rather than to see who can dominate the other. All of those things are going bye-bye, and you, gorgeous light, are in the process of recreating that. So this is about simplifying the life, letting go of attachments, and ultimately your soul's freedom. You are here to create this very freedom-based way of being for your soul in your physical body, because your soul actually lives in your physical body. So that's what you're here doing. And it can feel a little weird as a human, especially with all of our programming. And that's part of what we're doing, is we're just unpacking those attachments, unpacking those containers, unpacking old ways of earning money, unpacking old beliefs about what it means to have a 9-to-5 job and pay your taxes and be a good citizen of the world. We're just really sort of re-sifting through all of that, ultimately for a more full activation of your soul and your body. And with that is the final energy of this month, which is a more broader activation for more of the planet of their hearts, their high heart, and their third eye energies. So this is really cool. And this is an interesting way that this is happening. So you might see a lot of more fake accounts come up, and you might see a lot more things that are fake news requiring people to tap into their heart center in their third eye and their high heart to really see into what it is in order to make a decision. Is this right? Is this true? Is this true for me? Etc. Because the programming in the past has just been to, if you're of my parents' generation, if you read it in the news, it's verified, it's true, and it's written by a reporter, so you know it's real, right? And that's the energy that my parents grew up in. And if you grew up even in my time, I'm 47, I had very much the same thing. If it's in the textbooks, we know that it's true because it's in the textbooks. And now we're seeing how our history has really been written is a very one single pointed view of history. And now we're able to see that there's a lot of different parts of history even that have been left out, that we weren't really educated on in schools. And we're finding things even on the earth that we didn't know were there. In fact, I just saw a picture of a crystal cave in Mexico that just absolutely blew my mind. And so we're seeing our world in a whole new way. And it's allowing us to go back and rework some of the ways that we knew and understood how to sift information. And to get back to my original point, how to sift information was taught to us by just believe what you read or just believe what you see. And so now what's interesting is we're in a time where you can't believe what you see just because you see it. Many times it's fake. Many times it's not real with filters and the deep fake video editing tools. We don't even know if what we're seeing is true. And so the most amazing alchemy for that is to tap into your heart, to open the third eye, and to know without a shadow of a doubt if something is real for you. And let me give you an example of this. So recently, a friend's account got hacked on Instagram, and the hacker reached out to me and was asking me to contact their Bitcoin mentor. And I simply wrote back a message that said, anybody who has their heart open and the third eye open knows that what you're saying is not true. And anybody who knows this person, that you're doing this with their account, knows that that's the farthest thing from them. And so this is a really great time to be even more in your authenticity so that no matter what, right, your truth is your truth. And it's a really great time to tune in more to the heart, more to the third eye versus the intellect and the eyeballs, because that's how we filtered in the past for information, the intellect and the eyeballs and the ears. So you want to actually, one of the best tips I can give you as an energy intuitive, which by the way, I teach a lot of these tips in our Divine Energy Healers Academy, is to close down your eyes, kind of close off your ears and look at the situation through your heart and your third eye. That doesn't mean engaging your eyeballs at all. It just means thinking about the thing, and then you'll light up aspects of that thing, whatever it is, and you'll be able to hear, see, and feel the truth from a higher dimension, not a 3D through your eyeballs, through your head brain dimension, but from the actual frequency of it itself. And this is really a secret key of the new earth, of bringing in a higher frequency, because the 3D ways that we've been operating in, unfortunately can be toyed with. And so you want to deepen this skill of activating that third eye, activating that intuition, activating that heart knowing, the heart brain, and you'll feel the lie. You'll actually feel it. You'll feel like a thud in your system. So you're getting this more full activation of your heart portal, and so are millions of other people. And this can create a lot of confusion too, because many people aren't really used to having this much of their energy systems activated. So it can feel sort of disorienting to them. People can even feel physical symptoms of being dizzy at times because they're getting a recalibration. They'll feel that way, especially if they're not grounded, meaning they're not getting direct connection with the earth. By the way, that's something that you'll want to do even more as we're getting these really frequent updates to the energy structure in June and July and August. It's just been kind of on repeat, like blasts of energy every single day, multiple times a day. And so the more each day you can get outside and get your direct contact with the planet, you'll alchemize those energies and you'll bring those higher frequencies in and through your body and ground them in. And that's really the way we ultimately bring in more of the new earth here, is in and through your physical body, which does require you to get in connection with the earth. So I recommend you do it a couple of times a day. You'll feel better, you'll feel more grounded and centered, and you'll get more access to your intuition and your higher guidance and your higher knowing. Some questions and tips and takeaways. Something that I really love to ask for this month is, how can I act as an anchor for the new earth? How can I act as an anchor for more light on the earth? And ask yourself some questions like, what are your soul's dreams? What would your soul really love to experience here? Now, I want to just throw out a little point here. If the first thing that comes up is, my soul needs to have a Lamborghini while I'm here on the planet, odds are that's not your soul speaking. Odds are that's the smaller self's voice who is stronger and louder than the soul. So just do a double check with that. If the first things that comes up for you are really based in material things, odds are that's not the soul talking. The soul might say something though, like, I want to experience luxury. That's something that the soul might say, like, I'd like to experience luxurious things or soft things that make me feel really good, or pampering or something like that. But if it's a really super 3D type of an object or a particular person that it comes up, you want to double check in with that and just do a double check. Nothing wrong with a double check. Ask yourself, what do you want for the planet? What does your soul, your higher self, want for this planet? What are your visions? What are your dreams? What could you imagine happening for the planet and how we do our daily lives? In your ideal world, what would we be doing differently? What do you want for the children and plants and animals? Ask yourself these questions, and then ask yourself to activate being a catalyst and a container for this energy to come through. Remind yourself that miracles and manifestations and creations don't happen usually in front of a computer or an iPhone or an Android phone, that you create the most magical, miraculous delights when you are engaging with life, when you're engaging with people, when you're out in the world, when you're holding a frequency of ease and joy and peace in your system. That's when you're in the miracle zone. And when you're in that fifth dimensional portal of your heart, that present moment, that's when you can create those instantaneous miracles. And so this month is a great month to even give yourself an assignment to slow down a little bit, take some time away from the technology, set that technology down, go be in nature, set your energy for miracles. If you're having a meeting with a work colleague or you're having a meeting with your friend, just ask the miracles to come before you and uplift the whole situation and create a blessing and a miracle. You can even say something like, show me a miracle in this meeting that I'm going to today, and then see what happens. It's pretty miraculous when you do that. It doesn't even take 30 seconds to do it just before you walk into a meeting. So, my friends, that is the energy update for this month. All in all, a lot of beautiful energies coming in. Some tougher planetary energies, but I hope today you got some great tips and ways to think about those planetary energies that will help you hold some space during this time. As always, if you like this video, please share it with your friends, give it a thumbs up or a like. If you're on YouTube, hit that subscribe bell so that you get notifications when we launch new videos. Your participation and your interaction really matters, and it helps us, and it helps just get these messages out into the world. So I want to thank you for being here. Thank you for your beautiful light on this planet. And thank you for all that you're doing at this time. I hope you have a magical, magical June, and bye for now.